in store for us today. So what are the learning outcomes of today's lesson? So today we will be discussing about diffusion, osmosis, and the different types of osmosis like endosmosis, exosmosis, reverse osmosis. And at the last we will wind up by the topic of difference between osmosis and diffusion, which is quite important one because we should know what is the difference, major difference between osmosis and diffusion, so that we can easily make out what process is going on, whether it is osmosis or diffusion. So let us start with today's episode. Now let us start with diffusion process. So what is happening here? The movement of molecules of a substance from a region of higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration is called diffusion. So here we can see the molecules are in higher concentration, that is more nearer to each other, many particles we can see. So from the region of higher concentration to this lower concentration, the particles or the molecules will be moving. And diffusion here also we can see this is happening in a liquid and this is happening in a gas. So diffusion happens both in liquid, solids and gases. So there is no one medium where diffusion occurs. So where is it happening? Here we can see it is happening in a gaseous medium. Here we can see the diffusion from a region of higher concentration. The molecules are moving to a region of lower concentration. So what is happening here? This is solvent is there. So solvent moves by the concentration gradient. So from higher to lower concentration, the molecules are passing. So let us see with an example of a dye how the diffusion is happening in liquid. Now here we have set up one experiment. So this experiment you can do at home also. Take a beaker now containing water. Now put some crystals of potassium permanganate. So this potassium permanganate you can get in medicine shop. They'll give you a pouch of potassium permanganate. So in one corner of the beaker you just put crystals of potassium permanganate. Now you observe for some time what is happening. What you will see that the crystals of potassium permanganate, they gradually start dissolving, and after some time the molecules of dye, they distribute throughout the water. So what is happening? The molecules of dye were more concentrated crystal forms, and when added to water, they begin to dissolve gradually. So they are moving away from the region where they were in a higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So here their concentration was quite higher. So gradually after some time they are mixing and moving to a region of lower concentration. And the molecules of the dye have been uniformly distributed. That is the state of equilibrium, that is they are equally distributed throughout the vessel. So this is what is happening from the higher concentration to the lower concentration in a liquid. This diffusion happened. Now this experiment is very easy experiment, and children you can do it at home. Just buy a pouch of potassium permanganate from medicine shop and take a glass. Take a glass which is transparent so that you can observe the differences, how these crystals move on gradually and disperse throughout the water uniformly. The solvent is water, right? Here the solute is potassium permanganate. This all I think you have already studied in chemistry. Now this, at the end of this, we have seen that it is reaching the state of equilibrium. So now let us move to the importance of diffusion. Importance of diffusion. So how does it help? We have seen in the previous slide that how it is the distribution of ions and molecules throughout the protoplast. So it is the ions and molecules will be distributed uniformly, or rather in a uniform way throughout the protoplast it will be distributed. Now during transpiration, from the leaves the water is lost, or from the body, throughout the plant body, transpiration when it is happening, the loss of water is happening through the diffusion of water it is happening through diffusion from the stomata during transpiration. Now, diffusion of the water, helps? Keeps the internal plant tissue moist. This is also one most important importance of diffusion in plant cell, that the internal plant tissue is being kept moist with the help of diffusion. And last one, we know that we can smell the aroma of the flowers with beautiful smell, jasmine, rose. So how we can feel we can smell, we can get the smell? It is due to the diffusion of the aromatic compounds from the flowers. Now it is also helping the pollinators to attract the pollinators also. This diffusion is very much important. So these are the most important things, importances of diffusion for the plant body. So let us see what we are having next in the slide of osmosis. So here comes the next process, that is the osmosis. So what is happening here? The diffusion of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane. So in diffusion, we have seen that there was no period, or there was no membrane in between the high concentration and the lower concentration. But here we have seen that there is a semi-permeable membrane from a region of higher concentration, that is a region which is more dilute region, to a region of lower concentration, that is a less diluted region. This is called osmosis. So in other words, we can explain? We can explain that osmosis is the diffusion of water from its pure state or a dilute solution into a stronger or concentrated solution. So what we have seen in that previous absorption by the roots is also that, if you can recall the third or the fourth slide, you can go back now and see once what was happening. The roots were absorbing water from outside, which was actually more dilute region than inside, which is having the cell sap, which is having higher concentration, a more dilute, that is less dilute region, because it is having a salt solution. So it was moving from outside to inside through a semi-permeable membrane. So is it clear to everyone? So just make it clear, make the differences between diffusion and osmosis clear, so that when we are moving on with the next level, or the next different points like turgidity, flaccidity, imbibition and all, you don't get confused with this. Because in the next video we will be discussing about the more processes which involve in the absorption of water from the roots to different parts of the plant body. So here we are seeing that water molecules are moving from the higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So what is a semi-permeable membrane? Let us see that. Now here we see that this is a semi-permeable membrane through which the water is passing on from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, that is from the more diluted part to the more concentrated part. You can see that this is happening here. After some time, this water is being pushed to this sugar water solution, and this level has come down and this level have gone up. So this is what is happening, and through this semi-permeable membrane. So what is a semi-permeable membrane? It is a membrane that allows the movement of solvent molecules. That is, water molecules are moving here, though it prevents the movement of the solute particles or the sugar or the salt. They will not pass through the semi-permeable membrane. Only the solvent will pass through it. So for example, we can take the parchment paper, the cellophane paper, as well as the egg membrane. These are the examples. So these are the main examples of semi-permeable membrane. Now next topic here we will be discussing about endosmosis and exosmosis. So what are these two? What is happening here? Let us see in this diagram. So we have soaked some raisins over here. So after some time we have seen that the raisins are swollen. So what is happening here? The inward diffusion of water happening through a semi-permeable membrane. When the surrounding solution is less concentrated, it is called endosmosis, or the inward movement of water leads to the swelling of this resins. So what happened here? The inflow of the solvent or water from outside, that was a more diluted solution, to a more concentrated solution from outside. When a cell is placed in a distilled water, the cell swells up. In this case, it is called endosmosis. So this happened when we are soaking the raisins in distilled water. Now, another example is when we are soaking the grapes in the salt solution. So what is happening there? Grapes in the salt solution, the outward inflow of water from the cell happens. The outward diffusion of water through a semi-permeable membrane is happening when the surrounding solution is more concentrated than the inner solution. So that is called exosmosis. So endo means going inside and exo means the outward. So this is inward and exo means the outward. So exosmosis leads to the shrinking of the cells. So what is exosmosis doing? It is leading to the shrinking of the cells. So endosmosis, the inflow of the solvent into the cell from outside. So where we have seen that the concentration of the outward solution is less concentrated. So it is moving inward. And here the concentration of the outside is more concentrated than the inner one. So it is moving out. Surrounding solution is more concentrated. So it is moving out. So this is called the exosmosis. So I think you can make a very nice differentiation between endosmosis and exosmosis. So if it is still not clear, please go through your textbook, read once, and then let me know whether you are understanding the difference between endosmosis and exosmosis. And these two experiments, you can just do it at home. You soak the raisins in distilled water or in normal water also. After some time, you will see that they are swollen due to endosmosis. And you soak the grapes in salt solution. After some time, you will see that they are shrunken. So that is exosmosis is happening. Now this is, I think these two topics are clear to you all. Let us quickly go to the next topic. Now here we have set up one experiment. So this experiment you can do at home also. Take a beaker now containing water. Now put some crystals of potassium permanganate. So this potassium permanganate you can get in medicine shop. They'll give you a pouch of potassium permanganate. So in one corner of the beaker you just put crystals of potassium permanganate. Now you observe for some time what is happening. What you will see that the crystals of potassium permanganate, they gradually start dissolving, and after some time the molecules of dye, they distribute throughout the water. So what is happening? The molecules of dye were more concentrated crystal forms, and when added to water, they begin to dissolve gradually. So they are moving away from the region where they were in a higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So here their concentration was quite higher. So gradually after some time they are mixing and moving to a region of lower concentration. And the molecules of the dye have been uniformly distributed. That is the state of equilibrium. That is, they are equally distributed throughout the vessel. So this is what is happening from the higher concentration to the lower concentration in a liquid. This diffusion happened. Now this experiment is very easy experiment, and children, you can do it at home. Just buy a pouch of potassium permanganate from medicine shop and take a glass. Take a glass which is transparent so that you can observe the differences, how these crystals move on gradually and disperse throughout the water uniformly. The solvent is water, right? Here the solute is potassium permanganate. This all I think you have already studied in chemistry. Now this, at the end of this, we have seen that it is reaching the state of equilibrium. So now let us move to the importance of diffusion. Now in this osmosis, we are having so many topics and subtopics. I know it's a little bit difficult for you to understand all at a time, but please do understand each and every topic in a clear manner, so that when you are moving to the next topic, it will be very clear for you to differentiate from the previous one to the next one. So now we will be studying about reverse osmosis. Now before starting this, I would request you to subscribe to my channel so that you keep updated to my posts and you don't miss any of my videos. And if you are liking my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, and whenever I'm posting, so that you will get the updates and you can keep on revising and recalling all the episodes which I'm teaching. And if you have by chance missed any of my videos, I will be posting them and putting the link up in all my videos. So go through them and try not to miss any of my episodes, so that it will be easier for you. Now let us start with this one, that is reverse osmosis. So what is it? Now this is a process by which, as we can see in the diagram, that this is a salt water and this is fresh water. So in the osmosis, we were seeing that it was through the semi-permeable membrane, it was passing on from the region of higher concentration to lower concentration. So here also what is happening? The process of getting pure water from concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane, it's called reverse osmosis. Now this process is mainly used to get pure water from saline water, as well as for the purification of water. So if we have got saline water, by using this reverse osmosis method through a semi-permeable membrane, we can get pure drinking water. So this technique is many times used in this purifiers. Water purifiers are using this reverse osmosis process to purify the water. Now let us move on to the importance of osmosis. Now just a quick sum up, what is the importance of osmosis? It helps in the entry of water from the soil to the roots. It helps in seed germination. It helps in the cell-to-cell movement of water, and we can see that cell-to-cell movement of water, it helps in the maintaining the turgidity of the living cells. Now stomata, or what is the stomata, open and close in response to the increase and decrease in osmotic pressure of the guard cells. So these are the main 5 points of the importance of osmosis. Please go through your textbook once so that you can get it in an easy manner. Now last slide, we will be discussing about the difference in diffusion and osmosis, which is very important, and these main points you should always remember. So here comes the last slide of this big episode of plant physiology, where we have discussed about the absorption of roots and diffusion, osmosis and all other terms. Now what are the main differences between osmosis and diffusion? Now here in diffusion, the movement of molecules from the region of higher concentration to lower concentration. Now what happens in osmosis? The movement of water molecules from a dilute concentration of solution through a semi-permeable membrane. So from a dilute solution to a concentrated solution. So what is happening? The water molecules are moving from dilute to concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. Now diffusion happens in solid, liquids and gas. whereas osmosis happens only in liquid. In diffusion, no semi-permeable membrane is there. In osmosis, semi-permeable membrane is always required. Diffusion is very rapid in gases and it slows down in liquids. Now, here we can say that it's very rapid in gases, but it slows down in liquids. Whereas this osmosis is always a very, very slow process. Now, here we can see that diffusion, it helps in equalizing the concentration of the diffusing substances on either side of the system. Whereas osmosis does not equalize the concentration of solvent on the either sides of the system. So this is all about diffusion and osmosis, what we have learned today. So dear students, please go through your textbook. Please go through my slides again and again so that you are quite updated and quite thorough with diffusion and osmosis. So as of now, I have completed this and I'll be back with the next episode of physiology, plant physiology, or rather this other processes. So thank you.